Morning YouTube. It's been a little while, but I thought I'd get on posting with another truck video. So this is Eileen. At the moment I am doing the brake overhaul on her. She sat over winter time, and I had a binding brake at the end of last year's steam rally season. So I'm finally getting around to looking at her. We've got steam rally to go to in a couple of weeks time, so trying to get a match fit for that one. So I've already serviced these 3 wheel stations on this side, which I did for our Instagram page, Oak Meadow Small Holding on Instagram, if you want to follow us on Instagram. So I'm now onto the other side, and basically I've got a couple of issues. Obviously I've sorted out my sticky brake. I did that yesterday, so that should all be good. Once it's bled up again, we'll find out. And now I'm onto the other side because I'm doing the lot. The brakes always were pretty good on this vehicle, and having discovered that some of my pistons were seized yesterday, I'm quite amazed at how good they were. So the brakes should be absolutely awesome by the time I finished. It's a hydrovac system on this. It's got a hydrovac assistance, and yeah, they work really well as is. But out of the 6 pistons that I found, I checked out yesterday in this side, 3 of them were seized solid. So I'm on the other side now. Let me show you. So, as you can see, I've already pulled the hub off. This is the front hub for the other side. It has been stood, so it has been seeping a bit of oil past this oil seal and down the back of the back plate. So basically what I've done is I've got onto the axles and I'm cleaning all the axle breathers. So 9 times out of 10 when you've got a hub seal leak, it's down to blocked axle breathers, because what happens is the hub channels which fill with oils, your wheel bearings sitting here, they've got nowhere for the pressure to release from. The axle becomes pressurized, and obviously the oil pushes out through the weakest link, which is usually this seal. I mean, if you look at the lip of the seal, there's not a great deal that sits on the shoulder. So this is a GMC spare seal, and it doesn't fit, which I'm a bit annoyed at. But if you look on this shoulder, let me show you. So here we are. This is where we've pulled the slave cylinder out. It lives here, and this is the shoulder here that the oil seal sits on. And if you put the new oil seal on, you can see it doesn't sit over that shoulder at all. It doesn't fit. It's too small. My suspicions are they're the same as the Bedford RL and MJ oil seals by the look of it. So what I'm going to do is put everything back together again, take it to the steam rally, and then when she comes back again, if she's still leaking oil out of the back of the hubs, obviously I'm going to have to get some proper oil seals that fit, and yeah, resolve that problem. So at the moment, like I say, what I'm trying to do is recommission all the brakes, and I'm going to show you this. This is the slave cylinder that came off this vehicle. So this is 80 years old, and it is absolutely immaculate inside. Let me get you into some light and then I can show you. But normally you expect a bit of water ingress and you expect a lot of gunk inside these slave cylinders, but look at that. That is shiny, that is clean, and it goes back to what I was saying about old-fashioned metal being in loads more quality than what we've got these days. It's all recycled washing machines these days. This stuff was proper steel. Look at it, shiny. So we're going to slap that back together again, and obviously I've cleaned the breathers, so hopefully we won't have pressurization going on in this area, in this unit. So hopefully we won't have an oil leak, but we'll see how we go. The first steam rally is a bit of a test drive, and then obviously if there's anything that I need to come back and rectify, I will do it. I mean, I thought I had the right seals ordered, but they're not. So I can't actually go forwards on this one. So we're going to go for the full cleanup and then test drive it, and obviously if I've got any leaks, they'll be sorted out before the next steam rally. She doesn't do a lot of mileage, this lorry, to be honest. She just goes out to a few shows. That's what happens when you've got a truck that runs at about 6 miles a gallon. But you know, that's the problem, is you put a big heavy old box on the back of it. I mean, that is a heavy old box, and your fuel consumption goes up. But I do love our Eileen, and I can't wait to get out with her fairly soon. We've got a steam rally, like I said, coming up. We got a lot of people in the village with other green kit from World War II. So we tend to all meet up in the village square, and then we'll go to the steam rally in convoy. I think we might even have motorcycle escort this time, which is quite fun. But there's nothing quite like driving a convoy. I used to love it when I was traveling, and I still love it now that I'm doing steam rallies. It's brilliant fun. All right, guys. Well, I'll make another film once I get into the back hubs, and we'll see how we get on. Cheers now. Bye. Right, so this is the rearmost axle, and this is the axle that definitely has an oil leak. You can see the gunk on the back of the on the hubs. So the good news is this one, the oil seal, the replacement oil seals that I've got will fit these. So they must be back axle oil seals, which is good news. So it means I can put a fresh seal in. But the object of today's mission and yesterday's mission is basically to service the brakes. So this is a slave cylinder and it's sticky. So basically what I've done is I've cleaned the rust out round the lips on both sides, and then we're just going to go and use a drift and a soft hammer to push the pistons out, give them all a clean up in the workshop, and see what sort of state they are. So I'm going to grab all this, and then we'll pop over to the workshop and take this one to bits. Oh, here we go. Look, all our veggies growing. Oh yeah. Okay, so let's get this set up. So we got, there's the vice. Right, so basically, so I don't lose everything, I'm going to put the slave cylinder so that the piston can drop out here. My trusty Thor. So this is a leather and a copper headed hammer, and it's brilliant. I use it for all sorts of stuff. So I'm not going to be too enthusiastic, just going to try and tap the piston through and see whether we get any movement. Yeah, there it goes. So basically what's holding all this together is the grease, the assembly grease has dried out. So hopefully we'll be able to clean her up. Just gentle taps, don't want to break anything. Also don't want to lose that piston out the bottom really. There she goes, that's one. So all that is just sticky grease. Whoa, there we go, popped it. So I'm going to clean that up with some really, really gentle emery paper, and then we'll have a look inside the cylinder itself and probably do a little clean up on that. And let me show you a little trick to that. So what you need is a piece of round bar, you cut a slit in it, 400 grit emery paper, fold it over, and you put that on a hand drill, and you can very, 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 very gently ream out all the gunk from inside the cylinder. Now I'm saying really, really gently. Use WD-40 as a cutting compound and just go steady. You don't want to be pushing anywhere against it. You want to let the machine do the work for you. It takes a while to get it back to nice and shiny, but once you've got it back to nice and shiny, you're usually good to go, as long as your seals still have shoulders on them. Does that one still have a shoulder? Barely. We'll see what that's like when it's cleaned up. It's not leaking as it stands at the moment, so hopefully we'll be okay. Take all these components, put them on a bench for cleanup. Get that other piston out. So now I don't know whether you can see in there. Can you? No, you probably can't see in there too well. But anyway, yeah, I can tell you right now, it is pretty gunky. Hang on a minute, let's just see whether we can do it out here. Yeah, very difficult to see how gunky it is really. Oh yeah, there you go, that's not too bad. So we're going to lift all that gunk out, give her a polish, and hopefully reassemble her with some fresh grease in it, and go from there. So I'll make another movie once I've had a bit of a clean up, but you don't want to go any harsher than 400 grit, which is, yeah, P400. Look, there you go. It's hardly abrasive at all. And as long as you go steady and go light, you should be able to lift all that gunk out of these cylinders. And like I say, it's just dried grease. So theoretically, with a cleanup, we should have them as nice and shiny as we had all the other ones, which were literally immaculate for an 80-year-old motor. All right then, guys, I will make another film once I've cleaned everything up, and then we'll see how we go. Cheers, guys. Bye. Okay, so as you can see, we got the old sandpaper, the 400 grit on our metal bar, and we roll it around like that, pop it into the cylinder and let it relax itself, and then we keep the steel bar dead in the centre, and you do a really light hone on it to get rid of all the corrosion that's in there and the gunk. And then give yourself another bit of WD in there. There we go, and you can see that is cleaning up rather nicely. Okay, there's a few little spots on it, but most of the barrel is clean now. Okay, so we've just finished cleaning. I don't know whether you can see that, but as you can see, the internal surfaces of that are all nice and spotless. Well, not spotless, but as clean as they're going to get, to be honest. I'm a little bit worried that there is a little ridge in there, so I'm going to have to keep my eye on my brake fluid when it all goes back together again, because that little ridge could cause fluid to seep out of it. And obviously, if it does, if I'm leaking fluid or I've lost fluid, by the time I get back from the steam rally, it's a good job it's just around the corner, I should be able to know 100% whether I've got a leak or not. And if I've got a leak, then I can get I can get another one of these, or I will replace them for better seals. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on this. We're going to bang it all back together again and stick it on the truck, and then do the center axle. That's the next stage. But as you can see, that little method cleans them up really quite nicely. Cheers, guys. Bye. Okay, so here we are. We've got the reconditioned or cleaned up slave cylinder back in position. So while I'm here, I'm going to have a look at the breather, because remember, this one had a hub oil seal leak. So my suspect is a breather, and if you actually look down there, this is the breather pipe here, and if you look there, there's a pinch. It looks like the pipe's collapsed. So I'm going to pull this pipe off, probably cut the end of it, because it's not an actual GMC breather. This has had a piece of pipe put on it, but it looks like it's pinched and collapsed. So I'm going to cut it, make sure that it's breathing okay, not blocked. And what I'm going to do is actually put it back together with the original hub seal on it, because it'd be good to have a little run. And now that I know that I've got a spare hub seal, if it doesn't leak after the next steam rally, I don't need to change it. If it does leak, then I will change it, because I've already got the bits. So it's no massive drama. Yeah, so I'm going to clear that breather off and then put the hub back together again, and then we're on to this wheel station after that. Brilliant. I'll keep you posted, but it looks very nice and shiny in there, loads cleaner than it was. It certainly is on the inside of that slave cylinder now. It's nice and clean and shiny. Right, gang, so I'm just putting on the last wheel. This is the center axle, and I thought I'd show you these really natty wheel nuts. So that's what one of the wheel nuts looks like, and it's got a beveled edge. So basically, you put the wheel nut on and it cups this wheel and centers it with these cups, and then after you've put the first wheel on, you can then go and get the second wheel, and the second wheel has almost conventional wheel nuts, which then goes on the top of the original wheel nuts like that. So in effect, these two nuts lock each other on the tyre, which is really clever. So what it means is that if I use these nuts, these long nuts, on my front wheels as well, I mean, I haven't got them at the moment. I've just got hex nuts on the front wheels. But if I use these on my front wheels as well and get another set of them, that means I can put double tyres on the front axle as well. So in effect, the whole truck then ends up on 12 wheels. At the moment, she's on 10, but she'll end up with 12 wheels. And once you've done that to the front of them, they are virtually unstoppable in the dirt, to be honest, because the ground pressure is so low. You've got 12 tyres all paddling away in the mud. Pretty impressive. I've seen it done a couple of times, but it's a really interesting design that's not very normal. Normally you put a pair of tyres on and then a wheel nut and clamp the pair together, and you have less of a circular gap here on the wheel rim as well. The wheel rim isn't so big, but it's a really clever little solution to the problem. So basically, yeah, just going to bung the tyres back on again, tweak them all up, and then I'll have a natter about our plan for tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Ta-da. So, okay, guys, we had a brilliant couple of days. We've done all the wheel stations now. All the slave cylinders look great. We got one potential suspect oil seal, but I've got a spare. We're going to run that. Going to run to the steam rally and see what happens. And if I need to change it, I'll change it. Tomorrow, we're going to have the flexible hoses off and blow them through with an airline. Make sure that they're not blocked, because I have a feeling I might have to have them made up. Whether I can get that done in time is another thing. And then I might have a look at the little cylinder on hydrovac. I'm not sure yet. I'll have a look at it tomorrow and make my decision tomorrow. See what state these pipes are in first. And then it's bleed it up. And we'll bleed all the old hydraulic fluid straight out of it, really. Basically, what I'll probably do is pull the bleed nipples off on the back axle and just pump a shitload through it, just to make sure that any gunk or any rubbish that's in there comes out. And then after that, we're on to tinkering with the engine, making sure that's all fit and ready to go for the steam rally. But that'll be tomorrow's video. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. I didn't film that centre axle because it's just a repeat of what we've done already. It's the same as what we did on the RL. It's pretty much the same as what we did on the MJ. I'm sure you've seen how to take brakes to bits and put them back together again enough from me now. So yeah, we'll get under the bonnet tomorrow with any luck, have a little tinker. She's a straight 6 petrol engine, very thirsty, sounds sweet when she's going though, and she's got bags and bags of power as well. Strangely enough, this vehicle was released from Swiss Army service in 2001, so that's the last time the Swiss Army did any sort of maintenance on this truck. And since then it's been a show truck here in the UK. So I know it's gone to Arnhem, and I expect it's gone to Normandy as well, and obviously the local steam rallies around about where its owners live, I would imagine. So it hasn't done a lot of mileage since it came out of service. It had been sat in a barn for probably about 2.5 years before I got it, but I had a summer of fun out of it last summer. Now it's time to really make sure she's tippity top, because I'd really like to go to Normandy in her next year. Whether that materialises or not, it'll be Normandy, it'll be Tanks in Town, or it will be Market Garden that I go for. And this truck is done up as a troop carrier truck based at Exeter, and those troop carriers did drop parachutists, paratroopers into Arnhem as well. So yeah, it's an apt place for her to go. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll do some more filming for you tomorrow. Hopefully the weather stays like this, because it's been glorious all day today. Nice one, guys. See ya. So, hi from the meadow, guys. Here we are on day 3 of the truck. So the way we're looking at right now is we've done all the slave cylinders. That's fine, they're all clean. I've pulled off the rubber brake pipes, which is what I said I was going to do first thing. They're no good, so I've got to find somewhere to get some made up. I might go down Camelford and see whether the guys, they've made me pipes before for various vehicles, but Nelson Stokes might be the people. It does mean a run down there. So at the moment I am looking at tappets and valve clearances, and I've got a really ticky engine at high revs, and I'm going to adjust all the valves up, but my suspect device is this little badger here. I think that one is considerably more movement than it should be, but the only way to check it out is with the feeler gauges, so that's what I'm going to do. Get the feeler gauges out, go through it systematically, check all of the exhaust and the intake manifold clearances, get them all done nicely, and then we'll start her up again in a minute and see whether I've solved the ticking problem. So on a GMC, the springs are coloured different colours. So your exhaust valve is yellow and your intake valve is green. So it's quite easy to tell which is which. Valves on a 6-cylinder engine are paired in this way. So this is cylinder number 6. Number 1's all the way at the back there. So 6 and 1, they're paired together. 4 and 3, they're paired together. And 5 and 2, which is this one and that one, they're paired together. So what you're looking to achieve is like an overlap. The rockers rock in an overlap, which I'm going to show you. I don't know whether you can see these valves here. So that's the exhaust valve. No, that's the intake valve opening there. So that means the exhaust valve must have just opened. If I go backwards a little bit, let's see whether it does or not. No, it probably won't. No, it's just running on the fan belt. So what we'll do, we'll see. So that's your intake valve opened. So that's the suck. Now you're in a situation where you're in the squeeze, which the piston means the piston's coming up with a full load of fuel in it. You can hear it. You can hear the compression hissing away. And then it hits the spark and it goes bang. And then it blows by letting all the exhaust gas out of the exhaust valve. So basically the exhaust valve is going to go down, and when that comes back up again, the intake valve is going to go down, because that's the 4 cycle. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. So there you go, it's coming up, it's reaching the top of the centre, and now the exhaust valve is going down. So we're on what's called valve overlap there, on cylinder number 6, which means I can take my feeler gauges and adjust cylinder number 1. Okay, because I know that the valves aren't going to interfere with anything, and the valves, the rockers should be slack at the moment. There's no pressure on them. I should be able to move them. There you go, I can move that one, I can move that one. So what we're going to do is get the feeler gauges in there, make sure they're set at the right size. Right, so we've done them all. What I do is each time I do one, I leave a little white mark on the top, because it's easy to lose track where you are. So yeah, I've got white marks on all of them. They're all happy, they're all tweaked down. So we'll start her up and see whether it's finished the tick. Right, so there you go, they're all jumping. No horrendous ticking noises anymore. My suspect was always this one here, and it did turn out I had a fair bit of adjustment in that, but she's puttering away really nicely now, running nice and smooth. So yeah, match fit on the engine hopefully. Like I say, she's an utter bastard to start because she's 6 volt. But when she's going, she's just lovely. She's puttering along really lovely now. So it's a case of getting some more flexible brake pipes made. I'm happy with the engine. So I'm going to put the rocker box back on again, call that match fit, put all the front end side panels on. I mean, as you can see with this lorry, it's so easy to work on it. Look, it's just, there's the engine, easy. You know, I can hear something farting away. So whether I've got a slight leak out of the exhaust or something. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it too much. That my main issue. Sorry, I'm vibrating there because I'm leaning against the lorry. But my main issue was that horrible ticking noise, which I seem to have solved. So happy days, really. It's all part and parcel of servicing an engine like this. You've got to keep an eye on things. So yeah, happy days, really. Nice one, guys. Cheers. So there we go. She's all chuntering away really nicely. I think I've got a bit of a blown exhaust or intake. I seem to have a little bit of a farty noise coming out of it, but I'm not going to worry about that for this steam rally. Engine's ticking over and not ticking like it was, so I'm quite happy with it. It seems to be huffing and puffing rather than ticking now, which is great. She's an old girl anyway. They all make really funny noises. But anyway, I'll investigate further. I'm happy that she's pretty much match fit. It's time to get some pipes made up. I'm not going to get them until probably the beginning of next week, and then bleed the brakes up, and she should be 100% ready to go, which is great. Great bit of progress on her. I'm happy with her. And if you're in the southwest on the 14th of May, the Sunnymead gas up in Thorverton, that's where we're heading for with our convoy. So maybe we'll see you there. Cheers, guys. Ta-da. Bye. Classic Nick afterthought. If you like our channel, please subscribe, whack a like, hit the like button, whack a comment down. Got any questions? If you're a vehicle enthusiast, had great response to the Bedfords. We will be getting on with the RL. Unfortunately, I've been sort of slightly waylaid here, but we hopefully end of May I'm gonna go down and do the RL and finish that off, put the flatbed on. So watch this space. Like I say, if you like the channel, subscribe, hit the white like button, and drop a comment. See you later, guys.